All right, we're talking to Fred Barnes again. Welcome back to Take a Stand. Good to have you on with us again.
Good. Glad to be here.
All right, tell us a little bit about the defending the American Dream Summit and what it means to you, why you're coming over to this event this weekend.
Well, for one thing, it's put on by Americans for Prosperity, which I think is a great and growing group that is fighting for all the things I'm in favor of, and which is lower taxes, less spending, limited government, free markets, individual freedom, peace through strength, traditional values that have worked for several hundred years for America now, all those things. So it's a great group, and I'm an American for Prosperity.
All right, last time that we talked, and we run into each other at a lot of these summits and conferences and things, and so it's kind of like we get to get an update every few months. We end up running into you and talking to you, and what seems different to me at a summit like this compared to some of the recent ones over the last year and a half, the energy seems a lot more different. There's a lot more enthusiasm, a lot more guttural kind of excitement about different things in the political atmosphere. Do you get the same feeling, and if so, what do you think is causing that?
Well, I think you see great excitement among conservatives in the Republican base, among people who believe all the things I talked about, even though their presidential campaign, John McCain, really shows none of that enthusiasm at the moment. And so at rallies now, where thousands and thousands of people show up, particularly if Sarah Palin's there, they're urging McCain to get tougher, to be energized, not to sort of passively fade through the last 3.5 weeks of the campaign. And maybe they can energize him. You know, I think people are, one, they'd like to win. Two, they recognize what the threat is, to have an all-liberal Washington that will pass things that will, they believe, and I believe, hurt America's role in the world. And that's gotten them whipped up, and it's good to see it. It really hadn't happened until McCain picked Sarah Palin, and she started it, and it's gone way beyond that.
And I've seen some buttons that say Palin 12 on them and things like that. How much of this? Well, I think you already answered it. But as far as moving forward, the future of conservatism or the Republican Party, has Palin really become the de facto leader of the Republican Party over the last few weeks, you think?
Well, I don't know about that, because she's going to go back to Alaska if they lose. It's a little hard to be the leader of a party when you're in Alaska. But she has something that really no other conservative or Republican leader has, and that is she's a star. You know, Ronald Reagan just wasn't somebody who was a conservative, who understood conservative values and principles and wanted to implement them. He could attract voters who didn't agree with that, who were way outside the conservative orbit, people who just responded to him and as a person, because they thought he was a man of such high character and the right temperament and knowledgeability and so on. They wanted him to be president, though they weren't conservatives. Sarah Palin has that quality of she's not as deeply rooted in conservative thought and principles the way Ronald Reagan was, but she has the potential to be that because she's a star. You go to a McCain-Palin rally, afterwards, where does the crowd go? They leave the stage on different sides. The crowd flocks over to see her, and not many to see him.
Well, and that's what I was asking about. Is I'm hearing from people that are saying, well, you know, because of the Palin pick, they're going to go ahead and vote for McCain instead of vote against Obama. But, you know, whether it's frustration that people feel about the bailout vote by Senator McCain with the pork barrel that was included in that bill or different things, it almost feels to me like people are maybe not as excited about this fall, but they're looking forward and they feel like, well, maybe the Republican Party is going to get back in touch with its conservative base. It may not be the current slate of top dogs, but that change is coming in its own Republican form.
Yeah, I think people feel that. I think they're correct, particularly when you see some of the younger leaders that have come to the fore in the House of Representatives. I don't know about the Senate. That's a little different. We'll see who's still standing after the election. But I think people do feel that, okay, this is a tough election. There may be a tough fight ahead, but we're up for it. And there are going to be some people out there like Sarah Palin who are going to be the leaders that can rally behind, that we can rally behind.
Yeah, and I want to see if I can get Fred Barnes on record with the earliest prediction possible before even Election Day 2008. Palin, Jindal, 2012?
Well, that would be a remarkable ticket for sure. You know, two of the young stars. Certainly, Sarah Palin is the most charismatic and magnetic leader that Republicans have, and Bobby Jindal is the smartest in policy. I can think of others like Paul Ryan, the congressman from Wisconsin, but Gee, I'm trying to think how old that ticket would be. It would be Bobby Jindal just over 40, and Sarah Palin in her mid 40s. That'd be a sea change for conservatism, for American politics, for the Republican Party, and for all of us.
All right, Fred, thanks for being with us again.
I enjoyed it.